Hi and welcome to Ask Wardee. I'm Wardee, a wife and mom of three and the lead teacher and founder of TraditionalCookingSchool.com. I'm also the author of The Complete Idiot's Guide to Fermenting Foods. Ask Wardee is the weekly show devoted to your niggling questions about traditional cooking. Maybe it's your sourdough starter, your sauerkraut, superfoods, broth, or anything else to do with traditional cooking. That's what we talk about. You can catch Ask Wardee live each Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific, that's 1 p.m. Eastern, or through the podcast or video replays at askwardee.tv. And now let's get to today's show. I want to welcome everyone. Welcome to Ask Wardee, episode 28. So if you're checking this out later, you will find the show notes at tradcookschool.com/AW028. That's for episode 28, and the AW is for Ask Wardee. And at the show notes, you will find the podcast, the video replay, and the print notes and links for everything that I'm going to share today about today's question. And if you're new to Ask Wardee, welcome. If you're joining in live, welcome. If you're coming onto the replay, welcome. And I want to give a special welcome to everybody, including Tracy, who's joining me on Facebook Live for the first time. This is a total experiment to see how Ask Wardee does on Facebook Live as well as Periscope. If you want to get in on the live action and you're able and your schedule allows it, every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific or 1 p.m. Eastern. So we've got Periscope at Trad Cook School. If you're not yet following me, please do with that handle. And Facebook Live, you just search for Traditional Cooking School, follow my page, and when I get on, you should get a notification. So I think everybody who's with us on Facebook Live probably got the notification, and those of you on Periscope did too. So we're here, and we've got a great question to answer today. So I'm so thrilled you're all here with me. So this question today comes from Amanda G, and she is referring to something I shared in an email way back in February. So the short version of her question is, how do you eat real food when you're traveling? But here's the long version. She says, Wardee, you're amazing. Your cooking school and website has changed my kitchen life. Thank you. And here's the fun part. My husband bought me a grain mill for my 40th birthday because of you. Well, that is an honor. Now my question, can you talk about what you ate on your travels to that conference? You wrote an email about it, but I was hoping for more details. Well, I'm thrilled. First of all, Amanda, for you, happy birthday, happy 40th birthday. And how fantastic that you got a grain mill. Your husband really knows the way to your heart, and it's just a blessing to share in that journey with you and that excitement with you. So you were talking about my travels in February. I went to a conference and I sent an email and showed you a picture of my breakfast one morning. I'm gonna talk to you more about that. The details of how I handled real food while I was at that conference in February. But first, I thought it would be helpful so that this could be very applicable for anybody who's thinking about real food traveling. And it looks to me like Emily on Facebook Live is saying right now her family's getting ready to go on a 6-week RV trip. So any of you who are thinking about traveling, real food is totally possible. And these are the things you need to think of. Just the basic things. Of course, you can take it much deeper, but these are the things that you've got to get a handle on. You have to identify these 5 things before you do your plans. So number 1 is, are you driving or flying? Number 2 is, when you get there, will you be able to cook? So do you have a kitchenette or a hot plate or what? 3, when you get there, will you be able to refrigerate food? So that really is going to inform whether or not you can keep food cold or if you're dealing with a cooler with ice. 4, what special needs will you have while you're there? And this is really according to your activities. If you're going to be doing a lot of hiking or, whatever your different activities are, what kinds of foods are you going to need to support that kind of activity? You might have activities where you have lots of time to cook gourmet meals because you're doing plays and shopping and staying close to a motel that's like your home base. Or you may be going backpacking, in which case you need dried foods, light portable foods. So that's what I mean by this question is, what kind of activities are you doing? So you got to choose your food to support that. And the 5th thing you have to identify is if you need any special utensils or appliances. So this could be because of your health needs. This could be because of certain foods that you have to have with you or you want to have with you for where you are, and where you're going may not have it. So if you know for sure you need a Vitamix and you have to take that with you, it's not likely that you're going to find that in a kitchenette, right? Or if you need a stick blender, you have to pack some of those special things with you. So that's why that's the 5th thing. So are we on the same page with that? These are the 5 questions you got to answer before you plan. Are you driving or flying? Will you be able to cook? Will you be able to refrigerate your food? What special needs do you have according to activities or diet, allergies, etc.? And any special utensils or appliances needed. All right, and I'm seeing lots of hearts on Periscope, so I think we're on the same page. And thank you so much for all the comments everyone's sharing on Periscope and Facebook. So my answers to these questions anytime we're traveling are going to determine what I can pack and what I might purchase when we get there, because you can do a combination of both. So let's talk first about the flying scenario, which is the scenario that was back in February, where I sent that picture through email that Amanda's asking for more information. And once again, if you're just joining, we're talking about real food when traveling, and this is Ask Wardee, episode 28. And podcast, video replay, and all the notes and links of what I'm sharing today will be available within 24 hours at tradcookschool.com/AW028, within 24 hours of this live recording. All right, so if we're flying, this is my overall approach. I'm going to pack my suitcase with non-perishables or foods that will travel okay for at least 24 hours or so. So that would be jerky, superfood supplements, like I take chia seeds and collagen, protein powder, stevia, those kind of things. So I pack and I've even been known to pack like a couple apples or an avocado, anything that's going to be okay in a suitcase for about 24 hours, you can pack in a suitcase. Then when I arrive, if I'm able to refrigerate food, I will go to the grocery store and I'll get more perishables. And this is what I did at that conference I attended in February. And I see Jennifer has joined us on Facebook Live. Hi, Jennifer. Jennifer and I were at the same conference. Jennifer, the question we're answering today is packing real food when traveling. And I'm using that example of what I packed when we were together in February. Okay, so if I'm able to refrigerate foods on a flying trip, then when I get there, I'll go to the grocery store. And that's when I pick up perishable foods and cold foods. So salad ingredients, yogurt, fruits, cheese, meats, things like that. Things that I can just pack in the refrigerator and keep cold and have whenever I need those meals. This is a tip that will give you some free utensils and plates. Is whatever grocery store you're shopping at, go to the deli. And I think it's probably okay because you're patronizing the store by purchasing your foods there. But go to the deli and get a plate and utensils, bowls, just a couple of those consumable things that you can just toss when you're done and just use them every day. I would go to my motel room and I would use the same set of silverware and plate for the meals that I had on my own, and just wash them in between. And then I discarded them at the end of the thing. And we disconnected off Facebook, so just gonna let that be for now. All right. Another thing you can do though in your suitcase, if you don't want to use plastic disposables from the deli, you could pack some lightweight wooden, or if you're okay with some certain BPA-free plastic, you could pack some lightweight utensils and plates or bowls right in your suitcase. Now, when you get there, if you're able to cook, this is on a flying trip again, you can also from the grocery store, you could get meats or pasta or things that you can whip into simple meals like spaghetti or hamburgers. So whatever you might need to do some of those simple meals, get it at the grocery store. So does that make sense? The approach is to pack the things I have at home that will travel well in a suitcase and get the other things that I would need when I'm there. But it depends on if I can cook or refrigerate what I would get. So an example here, which was the one in February, is, and that's the particular trip that Amanda was referencing. She was asking for more info. So the photo I sent out on email was my deli bowl with a carton of yogurt dumped into it, and then I added all I had the powders of my superfood supplements on top. So Maca Powder, Chia Seeds, collagen, and then I had liquid stevia packed in my suitcase. And I just mixed all that up, and that was my breakfast on this trip. So what I did was I bought the yogurt and I brought all the dry superfoods and the stevia. And that's what I had every morning. I would mix that up and eat it for breakfast every day that I was gone. In my suitcase, I also packed Nick Sticks jerky because I hadn't made any homemade jerky, but that's an option. And I'll have a link for you to the Nick Sticks at tradcookschool.com/AW028. I also packed dark chocolate. So the jerky and the dark chocolate were my snacks during the day attending the conference when I needed something to tide me over. I knew I would be on my own for lunch most days, so that's where the salad fixings came in. I bought greens. I bought some simple salad toppings. I think I even got a mixed salsa for one day. Anyway, I just got the greens and I loaded up the vegetables, and I bought an olive oil vinaigrette dressing of a natural brand from the organic section. And I also had cut up meats and cheeses that I purchased. So it was like a loaded salad. That's what I ate for my lunches. And I knew that I would be going out or be hosted for dinner, so I did not purchase or bring anything for dinners. I just ate the best that I could when I was out, which when I was away in February, this particular example, it was San Diego. It was not hard to find good food out because they're doing really good things with nice food there. So that's the flying. Does anyone have anything to add before I go to the example of if you're driving, or maybe tips on how you have handled flying trips with real food? I can wait just a minute or so in the comments to see if you have anything to add. It's pretty quiet, and we did drop off Facebook Live, so sorry about that. It told me the internet connection wasn't strong enough. Okay, well, we will move on to the driving example, because that's like one of the major things that you identify that can really steer the direction of your real foods while traveling. And I should give a shout out to Megan, my friend Megan at Meg Eat Beautiful, who's here listening, but she and her family go places, and she is a master at this. So I'm sure her blog, eatbeautiful.net, probably has information. Follow her Facebook page, look for Eat Beautiful. She also is on Periscope right after me, so maybe occasionally she'd cover some of these things too. All right, if we're driving, so our approach is to pack a cooler or two with whatever of our regular foods we'd like to take along. That's the beauty of driving, is it's like you can take your kitchen with you. Now, I do keep it simple. It's not like we're doing gourmet, but you can take so many of your favorite foods and necessities along in coolers. So it's like taking your kitchen on the road. And I do a lot of work ahead of time to prep. So I'm pre-cooking and I'm batch cooking staples like cooked chicken, tortillas, English muffins, meatballs, sliced veggies. I freeze whatever I can, and what that does is if you're putting your pre-cooked foods frozen in your cooler, they're acting like ice. So you have more room for food, and of course as they thaw, then you have to replace with ice, but the thing is you're eating also, so you're freeing up space for ice and things are thawing. So that works really, really cool. Overall, I keep our foods while driving simple to sandwiches, wraps, milk, yogurt, cheese, meats, veggies, fruit. If when we get to our destination we have a refrigerator, then we can go to the grocery store to replenish what we ate on the drive if it was several days, or to get foods for when we're on location and have more freedom with cooking. That is if we have a kitchen. And I have to say that as often as we do travel, and if we were staying in a motel or something, 9 times out of 10, if it's a family, we'll do our best to have a kitchen or a kitchenette, because it is, you may spend more on the accommodations, but you're not eating out, and you're able to satisfy yourself with your own food that you love and is so good for you. And no, I think that's okay. Let's see. And so that was about the grocery store. And if I'm able to cook when we get to that destination, which like I said, 9 times out of 10, I try to have a kitchen. So that means a refrigerator and we're able to cook. Then we'll go to the grocery store and we'll get meats. I might bring pasta along, or if I need pasta, and we get brown rice pasta. Anyway, we get ingredients to whip into simple meals like spaghetti or hamburgers. and just continue this simple theme. So here's an example, and this was a recent trip that my husband and I took. We went away for a weekend to the coast, and our room had a kitchen and a fridge, so it was great. And in our cooler, we packed milk, yogurt, bread, veggies, kraut, pickles, cheese, bread, eggs. We also packed our dry goods, like the superfoods I was mentioning before, the chia seeds and the gelatin. I packed pasta, dark chocolate, and dark chocolate covered almonds. That's the treat I've been making lately for my husband. There's a link for that for you at tradcookschool.com/AW028. It's available with this recording. I also, because this was a driving trip and we had more room, I was able to pack extra utensils and appliances that I would need for my husband and I. So we brought the stick blender for smoothies. I even brought an empty quart jar because we took our half gallons of raw milk, and so I was able to skim cream for our warm beverages. And so that quart jar, I just thought ahead of time. I don't know why. Sometimes I forget things, but I was like, well, I need a place to put the cream. I better bring a quart-sized jar. I wish, though, that I thought of everything, because when we got there, and this is what happens, you get to kitchens and they're not as well stocked as your own for real food. So take some time to think about that. I think it was the 5th thing I mentioned at the very beginning. Yeah, special utensils or appliances. Take some time to think and about those special things, like the stick blender. But when we got to this place, all the measuring spoons and measuring cups and spatulas and serving spoons, they were all plastic, all of them. And the skillet was non-stick. So, we're going to go back there. And in the comments, KM Brooks is saying, bring a pan because they usually only have non-stick. Amen. So next time I'm taking cast iron, I'm going to take it's silly, but I'm even going to take my own stainless steel measuring cups, because we have this 1/4 cup scoop that is perfect to fit into the top of the half-gallon jar to get the cream out. The one at this place was like oval shaped and plastic. It did not even fit in the top of the jar. So anyway, I'm going to bring just my basic kitchen utensils like spatula, serving spoon. I'm going to bring a cast iron skillet, and I'm going to bring my own 1/4 cup measuring scoop because, anyway, that's just one of those things that happens. I mean, maybe you get into a vacation rental and they've got an awesome kitchen, but I think we have to assume that it's going to be pretty mainstream, and that we have some quality utensils that we maybe don't want to live without. And it's okay to do without once, but then like I did, I learned. So, next time we go back, I'm going to take those couple things. Now, this particular example I'm sharing with you of my husband and my recent trip, we didn't stay there long enough to need to refresh at the grocery store. So actually we just ate exactly what I packed in the cooler. In the comments, can't read your name, but I always like to bring a couple good knives. Excellent point. I forgot that already, but I told myself bring my own knives next time too. And someone else in the comments just say a lot of this applies to camping. It totally applies to camping. So if you're driving to a location and your location is a camping location, you don't have the fridge, so you're dealing with coolers. So, you have to have enough coolers and ice, and even if you can go to a grocery store or replenish ice, you have to plan with that. And then of course all your cooking is what you can do on your camp stove, and you have to bring all your utensils and such. So it's a driving trip, but the fact that your cooking surfaces, utensils, and your keeping foods cool is a little different is going to inform what you take. So wrapping that up, in this example of the trip my husband and I took, our meals when we were there, oh, and I just lost my note. Give me just a second. Our meals when we were there, eggs with toast, spaghetti, hamburgers, chicken salad sandwiches. I like to do some cold cut meals. So we had cold chicken with sauerkraut and pickles and cheese and toast, and it's just like little bits of food on a plate. I love those meals. So it worked out really well, and we had a great time. And let's see, Tracy is saying she started budgeting for the cost of getting a room with a kitchenette. Worth it. I completely agree. This recent trip my husband and I took, we thought, well, we could eat out, or we could pack and have a kitchen, and it was a wash, and even maybe saving a little bit of money to have our own kitchen. So we decide for that, which we would enjoy more. Now, someone in the comments is saying, so you never eat out. That's not true. We do eat out. We ate out once on this last trip, and then the flying trip that I gave you an example in February, I ate out every dinner for 4 days. So, just depending on the event or what the family wants, my feeling is it's an 80-20 rule. Of course, if you're undergoing, if you're on a very restricted diet for gut healing and you simply cannot eat out, or you don't have options to accommodate your special diet eating out, then it's different. But those of us in generally good health, the 80-20 rule applies, I feel, and that we can 20% of the time eat out and do the best we can. And I'm getting a question, any tips for eating whole foods out? And I'm going to save that for a future Ask Wardee if you don't mind, because that's a whole nother topic. Okay, well, I want to thank you all for being here. It's been fantastic. The Facebook Live experiment didn't quite work because we lost connection, but hopefully next week I'll try that again. And I want to wrap up by giving you all, reminding you, if you haven't taken it already, I have a free traditional cooking video series for you. Feel free to take a screenshot of this. You go to tradcookschool.com/freevids. It's 5 videos on my favorite techniques of traditional cooking that are from inside Premium Traditional Cooking School. So it's a free gift for you, just to give you a taste of what we do inside Traditional Cooking School. So if you haven't yet tried it, I'd love to see you in there giving it a try. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. On the comments I'm seeing, thank you so much. I'm going on a trip very soon, and this helps. I'm glad to hear that. Well, God bless you all. I'll talk to you again in a week. Thanks so much for coming today. It's been fun. Here's what to do next. Ask Wardee wouldn't be possible without your questions, so please keep them coming. If you're on Twitter, you can tweet me. Use the handle @TradCookSchool with your question and include the hashtag AskWardee. Or you can email me, wardee@askwardee.tv. To get the show notes, links I mentioned, or even to catch up on past episodes, just go to askwardee.tv. To join the fun of the live video recording of Ask Wardee each week, be sure to follow me @TradCookSchool on the Periscope app, or go to periscope.tv/TradCookSchool. We're live every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific, that's 1 p.m. Eastern. And finally, you can subscribe to Ask Wardee as a podcast using iTunes, the podcast app, or Stitcher. If you're on a mobile device, just search for Ask Wardee right in the app. If you're on a desktop or laptop, just go to tradcookschool.com/awitunes for Ask Wardee iTunes. And while you're there, please leave a rating or review. I love to read your comments, and your feedback helps others who are interested in traditional cooking find my podcast too. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next week.